My name is Teal Kafad. I'm the Saratoga wildlife biologist with Wyoming Game and Fish Department, and today I'll be presenting the proposed 2024 hunting seasons for the Saratoga Biologist District. This is the presentation order by species. First, I'll be covering Chapter 5, specifically pronghorn hunt areas 47, 48, 50, 51, and 52. Next, I'll cover Chapter 6, specifically deer hunt areas 70, 78, 79, 80, and 81. Next, I'll cover Chapter 7, specifically elk hunt areas 12, 13, 15, 16, 110, and 125. Next, I'll cover Chapter 8, specifically moose hunt areas 38, 41, and 45. Lastly, I'll cover Chapter 9, specifically bighorn sheep hunt areas 21 and 26. The medicine bow pronghorn herd unit is comprised of hunt areas 30, 31, 32, 42, 46, 47, and 48. First, I'll be covering some population information at a herd unit level, and then I will cover the season proposals for hunt area 47 and 48. The medicine bow pronghorn herd unit has a post-hunting season population objective of 40,000 pronghorn. This is also a recreational management strategy herd, which means we are managing for 30 to 59 bucks per 100 does. In 2023, the Integrated Population Model, or IPM, post-season population estimate, as you can see in the figure on the left, was 40,100 pronghorn. The fawn ratio that we observed during our 2023 preseason classification surveys was 59 fawns per 100 does, which was below the 5-year average of 67 fawns per 100 does. This was expected due to the poor nutritional condition of many does that we observed throughout the herd unit going into parturition or fawning season in 2023. The buck ratio, as observed in our preseason classifications, was 49 bucks per 100 does, and this was slightly above the 5-year average of 45 bucks per 100 does and is still meeting the recreational management parameters for this herd. The table on the right shows the proposed 2024 hunting seasons for the medicine bow pronghorn herd unit. In hunt areas 47 and 48, we are proposing no changes. The 2024 license quotas for 47 and 48 should support stabilizing pronghorn numbers within the population objective range for this herd. If conditions, as far as drought conditions and overwinter survival, continue to improve for pronghorn in these hunt areas, we may be looking at offering more opportunity in the future. The Elk Mountain pronghorn herd unit is comprised of hunt area 50, The Elk Mountain pronghorn herd unit has a post-hunting season population objective of 5,000 pronghorn. This is also a recreational management strategy herd, which means, again, that we are managing for 30 to 59 bucks per 100 does. In 2023, our Integrated Population Model, or IPM, post-season population estimate was 5,600 pronghorn, which you can see on the left-hand figure. The fawn ratio in this herd was down significantly in 2023. During our preseason classifications, we observed 36 fawns per 100 does, which is, again, below the 5-year average of 46 fawns per 100 does, and indicated poor productivity in this herd. This is 2 years in a row that we've seen fairly low productivity. Wasn't surprising this spring, given nutritional condition of does being very poor going into the fawning and parturition season. Our buck ratio is still within the recreational management strategy parameters. In 2023, during our preseason classifications, we observed 42 bucks per 100 does, which is just below our 5-year average of 43 bucks per 100 does. We've been looking at some differences between the north end of the herd unit versus the south end of the herd unit. And when I say south end of the herd unit, I mean south of the Pass Creek Road. As far as our fawn ratios are concerned, our fawn ratios were actually higher in the southern portion of the herd unit, so south of Pass Creek Road, while our buck ratios were actually higher in the northern portion of the herd unit. So I can't put my finger quite on the difference in those ratios that we are observing across the herd unit, but it is something that we've been monitoring the last few years. We were also able to conduct a line transect survey in spring of 2023. These are really intensive surveys that allow us to derive an end of biological year abundance estimate. So basically before these animals have fawns on the ground. And the results of that survey were just over 5,000 pronghorn, which helped reaffirm our abundance estimate that we are getting from the integrated population model that we're running. Hunter satisfaction did decrease slightly, and other hunt metrics did indicate that hunting in Hunt Area 50 had been more challenging in the hunting season 2023 compared to previous years, which again we expected given the severe winter conditions in a portion of this herd unit in winter of 2022-2023. The table on the right shows the 2024 proposed hunting seasons for the Elk Mountain pronghorn herd unit. We are not proposing any changes in Hunt Area 50. We believe these Type 1 and Type 0 licenses, which are mainly used for harvesting buck pronghorn antelope, will maintain our buck harvest opportunity and will also move toward 25% of our preseason males being harvested through our hunting seasons, which is a guideline that we have for these herd units. We're also keeping a lower Type 6 license quota. We reduced this quota last year, and we're going to continue to keep that at a reduced level. Although we're slightly above our objective, we are within the objective range. And just given the poor productivity of pronghorn antelope in 2023, we think it's wise to keep that quota low for another year to see what productivity looks like in 2024. We expect it to be better. We also expect overwinter survival to be better. So in the future, we anticipate being able to increase that doe fawn license opportunity. But for now, we're hoping to maintain that license quota at 100 until we see what the conditions look like in 2024 for this pronghorn herd. The Elk Mountain pronghorn herd unit is also up for objective review in 2024. This herd objective was last reviewed in 2019 and is now up for objective review again. We have been hearing some public concern regarding the number of pronghorn being observed in the Elk Mountain pronghorn herd unit. And as I had presented earlier, our model estimate is showing that we are within our objective range. So if folks are concerned about the current status of Elk Mountain pronghorn populations, this might be an objective that we need to consider increasing if our tolerance for pronghorn on the landscape is a little bit higher now that we've actually seen this population reach that objective range. So this is a population objective that I think we need to spend a little bit more time on. So we are going to consider bringing this out for additional review in 2025. Currently, we're going to maintain the postseason population objective of 5,000 animals, but we will spend time analyzing some of our line transect data, more public comment, and see if we need to bring this out for another objective review in 2025. The Big Creek pronghorn herd unit is comprised of Hunt Area 51. The Big Creek pronghorn herd unit has a post-hunting season population objective of 800 pronghorn. This is also a recreational management strategy herd, which means we are managing for 30 to 59 bucks per 100 does. The post-hunting season population estimate is derived from our integrated population model, or IPM. As shown on the figure on the left was 1,100 pronghorn, which was above the population objective. The preseason fawn ratio in this herd unit was very low. We observed 34 fawns per 100 does, which was lower than the 5-year average of 61 fawns per 100 does. This fawn ratio does indicate that we had poor productivity in 2023, which was expected given the severe winter conditions that persisted over winter 2022-2023. The preseason buck ratio, however, was 60 bucks per 100 does. Although that is lower than the 5-year average of 69 bucks per 100 does, the observed buck ratio did exceed recreational management strategy parameters, so there appears to be plenty of opportunity for buck hunters in this herd unit. The last time we were able to fly a line transect survey for this herd was 2018. However, we are hoping to be able to conduct a line transect survey at the end of biological year 2023. So that will be this spring. That will give us an additional abundance estimate to feed into this integrated population model, which should help this model out quite a bit. Winter conditions in 2023-2024 have been mild so far, so we do anticipate improved overwinter survival compared to last year, of course, for all age and sex cohorts within this herd. The 2023 harvest metrics, including hunter success, satisfaction, and days to harvest, which we look at our hunter effort metric, indicated slightly better pronghorn hunting compared to 2022. However, each of these metrics indicated that hunting conditions were still more challenging in this herd unit than they have been in the previous 10 years. The table on the right shows the proposed 2024 hunting seasons for the Big Creek pronghorn herd. We are proposing no changes in Hunt Area 51. As mentioned previously, we do expect that pronghorn survival will be higher this winter due to more mild winter conditions, and we expect that the population at the end of hunting season 2024 will be either at the high end of the objective range or slightly above the objective. Maintaining the Type 1 license quota should maximize our buck harvest opportunity and move the male harvest rate closer to 25%. And as shown in the previous slide, our buck ratios do indicate that there are buck hunter opportunities in the herd unit. We do recognize that there was poor fawn production in 2023, so hunters should probably expect seeing reduced yearling and 2-year-old bucks this year during the hunting season. Pronghorn can be difficult to access in this herd unit as they often congregate on private lands, especially during the hunting season. So hunters should plan to look at private land access in order to be successful on both the Type 1 and Type 6 license types. In 2024, we were reviewing the Big Creek pronghorn objective. This herd was last reviewed in 2019 and is up again for review. We have heard folks concerned about the number of pronghorn that are within this herd unit being lower than what they would like to see. So we are anticipating having to push back this objective review until 2025. That will give us the opportunity to incorporate our newest line transect survey, which will be conducted this spring, into our analyses regarding this objective review. So again, we are thinking we're going to be pushing this objective review back. Currently, we're going to be keeping the postseason population objective, 800 pronghorn, but we will be looking at this fairly closely again next year after we have that line transect survey and also have more time to review public comment in regards to how this population is performing. The Iron Springs pronghorn herd unit is comprised of hunt areas 52, 56, and 108. I'll be talking a little bit about population performance at a herd unit level, and then I will be specifically talking about season proposals for Hunt Area 52. The Iron Springs pronghorn herd unit has a post-hunting season population objective of 12,000 pronghorn. This is also a recreational management strategy herd, so we are managing for 30 to 59 bucks per 100 does. The postseason population estimate, as shown on the figure on the left, was 5,900 pronghorn, and that is quite below the objective, quite far below the objective of 12,000 animals. The preseason fawn ratio was very low as well. We saw or observed 35 fawns per 100 does during our preseason classifications, which was lower than the 48 fawns per 100 does, which is the 5-year average for this herd. The fawn ratios were not surprising, though. We did anticipate poor productivity in 2023, just given the severe winter conditions leading into the patrician and fawning season. The preseason buck ratio was 51 bucks per 100 does. This was lower than the 5-year average of 53 bucks per 100 does, but was within the recreational management strategy parameters. At least for a lot of these hunt areas, though, these buck ratios are a lot lower than what folks expect to see when they're out hunting these areas. Area 52 had 19 yearling bucks per 100 does, which was actually surprising recruitment for that hunt area given the tough conditions in 2022-2023. The table on the right shows the proposed 2024 hunting seasons for the Iron Springs pronghorn herd unit. And specifically, I'll be talking about our changes proposed in Hunt Area 52. So in response to being below the population objective, reduced hunter satisfaction, and poor hunter success in 2023, we are looking at further reductions in our type 1 and type 2 license quotas. So we're looking at reducing the type 1s by 25 and the type 2s by 25 as well. This should also address the concerns of reduced overwinter survival and recruitment that we saw in 2023. Of course, we believe that overwinter survival will be improved this year, but we're going to be seeing missing age classes or reduced age classes for the next few years. So these license quota reductions should address those kind of missing age cohorts that hunters will be observing over the next few years. The Shirley Mountain Mule Deer Herd Unit is comprised of Hunt Area 70 and is also one of the hunt areas in non-resident Region D. The Shirley Mountain Mule Deer Herd Unit has a post-hunting season population objective of 7,500 mule deer. This is a recreational management strategy herd, so we are really trying to maximize deer hunter opportunity in this herd unit, as well as manage for 20 to 29 bucks per 100 does. The 2023 integrated population model post-season estimate was 2,400 mule deer, which was well below that population objective of 7,500. Our fawn and buck ratios were ratios that we observed opportunistically during an elk trend flight in early January. So our fawn ratio that we observed post-hunting season was 62 fawns per 100 does, which was slightly above the 5-year average of 59 fawns per 100 does. Our buck ratio was quite high. Again, these were opportunistic observations during an elk trend flight. So we observed 54 bucks per 100 does, which is obviously way above that recreational management strategy, and it did exceed that 5-year average of 38 bucks per 100 does. I do have an asterisk on both these ratios. Again, these were opportunistic observations during an elk trend flight. We had a very small sample. We had less than 150 animals that we are able to get classified during that elk trend flight. Most of our monitoring this year for this herd unit, those monitoring efforts were put toward a siteability, where we were mostly trying to just count groups of deer as opposed to getting caught up in the composition of the groups of deer that we were counting. So these classification ratios should be interpreted with a lot of caution for 2023. In 2023, we had 458 hunters who harvested 152 bucks in the Shirley Mountain Mule Deer Herd Unit. To note, this was the second lowest number of hunters that have reported hunting in the Shirleys since 2013. We do expect that some of those hunters had shifted to adjacent hunt areas because there had been recent antler point restrictions that had been removed from adjacent hunt areas. In addition to that, just hunter participation may have been lower this year because of folks' perception of overwinter survival being reduced due to 2022-2023 winter conditions. In January 2024, we were able to complete a siteability survey in this herd. This was a really exciting time for monitoring this herd because this is the first independent abundance estimate for this herd that we have had. So the abundance estimate from the survey was 2,900 mule deer and provide the most reliable estimate for the herd. This abundance estimate should bolster that integrated population model that I showed on the first slide, which is really exciting. The recent siteability survey did confirm our presumption that the number of mule deer in this herd unit is substantially below the postseason herd objective of 7,500 mule deer. That objective was set based on historical models. However, those historical models and the postseason estimates they were deriving were always evaluated as unrealistic, and there was really this need for this independent abundance estimate to bolster those population models. So now that we have that independent abundance estimate, we think we're going to be more informed going into this next objective review for this herd. So we acknowledge that the public has a desire for a more robust deer herd in the Shirley Mountain Herd Unit. However, the current objective of 7,500 deer is not likely attainable given the many challenges this herd is facing. So some of the challenges that this herd is facing that we've identified include late seral stage habitats, prolonged drought conditions, what we're finding to be high disease prevalence, specifically chronic wasting disease prevalence, increasing development in near crucial winter ranges, and also some increased competition with other ungulate species on overlapping ranges. So we do plan to recommend a lower postseason population objective during the next objective review, which will occur in 2025. So just a little bit about the map on this slide. The map on this slide shows our siteability survey effort. So all of the polygons that are outlined in red were the polygons that were selected and flown during our January 2024 siteability survey. So we were able to survey 30% of what we thought were high density subunits, and we were able to survey 20% of what we thought would be low deer density subunits. The total survey effort was about 25 hours, and we were able to fly those 111 total subunits that you can see on the map there. All of the deer that we observed, or deer groups that we observed, are indicated by that red-purple circle on this map. I also put on our trend flight observations. So in January 2024, just before our siteability survey, we were able to fly an elk trend flight, and we did mark deer groups that we encountered during that elk trend flight. Now, the elk trend flight does not span the entire herd unit, the entire Shirley Mountain mule deer herd unit. So these were just casual observations of deer that we made during the trend flight. So those are highlighted with yellow circles on this map. I wanted to briefly cover our chronic wasting disease sampling effort in the Shirley Mountain Mule Deer Herd Unit. Chronic wasting disease was first detected in this herd unit in 2006. This is a Tier 3 surveillance herd and will be intensely sampled with the goal of sampling 200 hunter-harvested mule deer from 2023 to 2025. So 2023 hunting season was the first year of intensely sampling in this herd, and we were able to sample 43 adult male mule deer for chronic wasting disease. Prevalence, as you can see on the slide, was 16.3%, and that was based on those 43 adult male mule deer. The prevalence we have observed from 2021 to 2023 is 17.1%, and the confidence interval of 7.8% to 28%, and that's based on a sample of 70 adult male mule deer. So we are hoping to increase that sample size next year. We are looking at moving toward mandatory sampling in 2024 to increase that sample size and get a better handle on what prevalence might be in this herd. The map on the right does show where some of the positive CWD samples have come from in the last 3 years in this herd unit. We do have concerns about the prevalence that we are seeing in this herd unit. In other herd units with high chronic wasting disease prevalence, we have seen that these herds perform poorly compared to herds with low CWD prevalence. As already shown in previous slides, this herd is not performing well in terms of its objective. So chronic wasting disease, a high prevalence of chronic wasting disease, is just one more factor that could potentially be affecting survival of deer in this herd unit. High CWD prevalence mule deer herds oftentimes have lower or fewer older age bucks or larger antler class bucks. This is certainly something that we have heard from the public in the last few years as they've hunted in the Shirley Mountain herd unit. In CWD prevalence at this percentage may be contributing to those fewer older age class bucks on the landscape. We also are concerned that potentially high prevalence, as we are observing in this herd unit, could reduce hunt quality and decline hunter interest. Again, this is a herd that we are trying to maximize recreational opportunity for deer hunters, and declining interest is not something that we would necessarily want to see in this herd unit. The table on the right shows the proposed 2024 hunting seasons for the Shirley Mountain Mule Deer Herd Unit. We are not proposing any changes for Hunt Area 70. So looking to maintain that 7-day general antlered mule deer or any white-tailed deer season. Again, this is a recreational strategy herd, so we are trying to maximize deer hunter opportunity within this hunt area. And we think this season structure accomplishes that. In addition, we are looking at proposing no change to the non-resident Region D quota. So Area 70 is just one of the hunt areas within non-resident Region D, but still looking at maintaining that 300 license quota for Region D. The 2024 season structure should maximize that hunter opportunity, as I stated before. And if we have a harvest that is similar to last year, like 150 to 200 mule deer bucks and about normal fawn production in 2024, the predicted postseason population for this herd is around 2,400 animals, and will continue to be below that objective range of 7,500 mule deer. Again, as described previously, in 2025, when we review the objective for this herd, because the modeled estimates for this herd have been unrealistic for years without having a robust survey like an abundance survey, we think it would be appropriate to probably reduce that objective down to a lower number. But we'll be doing more intensive outreach regarding that objective review in 2025. The Platte Valley Mule Deer Herd Unit is comprised of hunt areas 78, 79, 80, and 81. The Platte Valley Mule Deer Herd Unit has a post-hunting season population objective of 16,000 mule deer. This is also a recreational management strategy herd, which means that we are trying to maximize buck hunter opportunity while still managing for 20 to 29 bucks per 100 does. The postseason population estimate, as shown on the figure on the left, was 12,400 mule deer in 2023. This was below the population objective of 16,000 animals. The 2023 postseason fawn to doe ratio of 65 fawns per 100 does was below the 5-year average of 68 fawns per 100 does. We expected that productivity would actually have been reduced below this level just due to the observed body condition of many female deer in spring of 2023 when they were going into parturition or fawning season. This fawn ratio was below the fawn to doe ratio of 66 fawns per 100 does, which is generally accepted as the fawn ratio that's needed to maintain a population. The postseason buck to doe ratio of 27 bucks per 100 does was within the recreational management strategy parameters of 20 to 29 bucks per 100 does. However, this was the lowest observed buck ratio in the last 10 years. The yearling buck to doe ratio of 8 bucks per 100 does was indicating that there was below normal recruitment from 2022 to 2023. Again, this was expected just given what we were seeing as far as mortalities on crucial winter ranges across the Platte Valley. Winter conditions so far in 2023-2024 have been mild across the herd unit, so overwinter survival and productivity should be improved in 2024. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the hunter metrics that we saw during the 2023 hunting season. In 2023, there were 858 hunters that harvested 312 buck mule deer in the Platte Valley herd unit. There was reduced license quotas going into the 2023 hunting season in anticipation of low productivity and low recruitment because of winter conditions leading into the hunting season. There was also lower hunter participation on all license types within the hunt areas. 2023 had the lowest deer harvest ever reported in the Platte Valley. Hunter success was 36.4% and satisfaction had decreased. Our effort metric that we look at for mule deer hunters is our days to harvest metric, and that days to harvest was 18.9, which was increased compared to 2022, and also indicated that hunters had a very difficult time finding harvestable buck deer across the herd unit. Hunter survey comment satisfaction in those days to harvest metrics indicated that mule deer hunting was just really tough across the entire herd unit last year. We have had the opportunity to conduct several siteability surveys in this herd since 2001. These siteability surveys are very time intensive and also cost prohibitive, so we're not able to fly them every year. But those abundance estimates that we do derive from the siteability surveys have really helped inform our integrated population model, so we're hopeful that we'll be able to implement a full siteability in early 2025, so that will be at the end of biological year 2024. So in 2023, we did ramp up our efforts in terms of our composition abundance survey. These composition abundance surveys do allow us to collect age and sex ratios of groups of deer that we observe, but it also offers us a low precision abundance estimate. So as you can see on the slide here, the abundance estimate from our comp abundance survey in 2023 was 11,525 deer, with confidence intervals that are pretty wide, from 6,800 deer to 16,000 mule deer. So although this is a low precision estimate that we were able to get in 2023, we do feel that this survey outcome did represent the decline in mule deer that we observed from 2022 to 2023. Again, we do plan to conduct a full citability at the end of biological year 2024, and this will really give us a good idea as to how this population is performing and really help out those integrated population models that we're running to get postseason estimates on this herd. In addition to getting age and sex ratios of those deer groups that we observed during this composition abundance survey, we do assign antler classes to mule deer bucks that we observed during the flight. So the total adult buck classification during our 2023 composition abundance survey was 84 bucks, and 62% of those were class 1 bucks. This means that their antler spread was less than 20 inches wide. 31% of the adult bucks that we observed were class 2 bucks. This means that their antler spread was 20 to 25 inches wide, and 7% were class 3 bucks, which are some of our larger age class bucks, and they've got antler spread greater than 26 inches wide. These proportions of class 1, class 2, and class 3 bucks were actually similar to the 5-year averages that we've observed in this herd. Our class 3 bucks, so those older age class, larger antler class bucks, were slightly lower as far as the proportion of class bucks that we observed. In the past, we've seen 8 to 9% of the adult bucks observed being class 3s, but just slightly lower this year at 7%. So the map on the right does show the polygons that were selected during our 2023 composition abundance survey. So we don't fly the entire herd unit. That would be too cost prohibitive to do every year or any year. So we do select a portion of high density subunits and low density subunits. So you can see that we were able to fly 10% of our what we expected to be our high density subunits and 7% of our low density subunits. So 72 total subunits were flown, and the survey took about 20 hours to complete. All of our deer observations within those subunits are indicated with a purple-pink circle there on the map. I also plotted some of our February deer observations that we saw opportunistically during our moose sitability survey that we flew in February. So just kind of an indicator of, there's definitely deer outside those subunits that we fly. We recognize that. And kind of the interesting thing that we observed this year because of such mild conditions was just where the deer were distributed across winter range. So some higher elevation deer even into mid-February when we were flying for moose. So this map just indicates some of our deer observations during that composition abundance survey, and then also our February deer observations. Each year I like to reflect on the harvest trends over the last 3 decades in the Platte Valley Mule Deer Herd Unit. 2023 marked the 11th year of limited quota hunting in the Platte Valley. The goal of going limited quota was to improve the quality of deer hunting and harvest success. From the figure on the right, you can see that that lighter blue line toward the top of the figure represents total hunters. From the late 1990s to the early 2000s, it was not uncommon to have 3,000 plus hunters afield during the deer hunting season in the Platte Valley. After going limited quota in 2013, hunter numbers responded and were dictated by license quotas and have remained under 1,500 hunters. The purple line represents the total deer harvest from 1993 to 2022. Harvest numbers were reduced again after 2013, and this was likely because of reduced license quotas being established and maintained at much lower levels. That green line represents buck harvest. Since 2013, the harvest has been focused on the male segment of the population, or bucks. The blue and red lines represent doe and fawn harvest. Besides some doe-fawn licenses that were issued in the early 2000s, doe and fawn harvest has really not occurred in the Platte Valley Herd Unit. There were a few does and fawns harvested through the late 2000s, and that was generally on youth deer licenses. In the last year, youth are no longer able to harvest does or fawns on full-priced youth licenses. In 2012, the Wyoming Game and Fish Department collaboratively developed the Platte Valley Mule Deer Plan and began to implement strategies identified to improve the quality of hunting experience in the Platte Valley herd unit. So these strategies included changing the hunting season structure from traditional general seasons to limited quota seasons, achieving a buck harvest success rate of at least 40%, setting a goal of at least 20% of the field-checked harvested bucks meeting an antler spread of 24 inches or more, and 60% of the harvest survey respondents replying that they were satisfied or very satisfied with their hunting experience. So although these objectives are not formally adopted as objectives for this herd, it is an important part of our mule deer plan and certainly weigh into our season structure and quota proposals that we have come up with the last few years. So field check bucks in 2023, only 9% of those field check bucks were greater than 24-inch antler spread. So this is the lowest that we have seen since basically 2012. The 3-year average percentage of field check bucks that were greater than 24 inches was only 14%, so we are not meeting that 20% sample goal. The hunter satisfaction, which is usually directly correlated with hunter success, was quite low in 2023. Only 39% of mule deer hunters in the Platte Valley reported being satisfied or very satisfied with their hunt experience, so obviously not meeting that 60% goal. Also, the 3-year average was 50% hunter satisfaction, so again, over the 3 years, not meeting that hunter satisfaction goal. The buck harvest success goal also not met in 2023. Only 36% of buck hunters in the Platte Valley were successful, and we are aiming for 40%. The 3-year average was met, however, the 3-year average buck hunter success was 46%. So again, although not formally adopted as objectives, we look at these secondary objectives each year, and they certainly do play into our recommendations for season structure and quotas for this herd unit. One interesting thing of note that we look at each year is the proportion of field check bucks that are yearling bucks. Prior to going limited quota, 25 to 30% of field check bucks were yearling bucks. Since going limited quota, it's been in the low teens as far as proportion of bucks that are yearling bucks. So there is some sort of self-imposed selectiveness now that we've moved to a limited quota season structure. So the proportion of yearling bucks or younger age class bucks that are being killed has been reduced since going to that limited quota season structure. I wanted to briefly cover our chronic wasting disease sampling effort in the Platte Valley Mule Deer Herd Unit. Chronic wasting disease was first observed in the Platte Valley Herd Unit in 2002. This is considered a Tier 1 surveillance herd, and it was scheduled to be intensely sampled with the goal of sampling 200 hunter-harvested mule deer bucks in 2023. So during the 2023 hunting season, we were not able to attain the sampling goal of 200 adult male mule deer within that one hunting season. You can see our sample was 113 adult male mule deer that were sampled, and 13% of those adult male mule deer were positive for chronic wasting disease. This prevalence is higher than we have observed in this herd unit over the last few years. In 2021 to 2023, our prevalence was 9.9% with a confidence interval of 5.7 to 14.6%. And this prevalence is based off of a sample of 222 adult male mule deer. So we are concerned with this prevalence, and we are going to continue to gather public input to determine feasible management strategies through the guidelines of the Game and Fish CWD management plan. So the reason that we're concerned with high CWD prevalence, as described also in the Shirley Mountain mule deer herd, was that high CWD prevalence herds usually perform poorly compared to herds with low CWD prevalence. This herd is already below that 16,000 mule deer objective, and CWD at this prevalence could be one other factor that's negatively impacting this herd. High chronic wasting disease prevalence mule deer herds also have fewer older age class bucks or larger antler class bucks. This is certainly something that we're starting to hear from our public, is that there's fewer harvestable antlered mule deer, usually those older age class mule deer, available in this herd unit. And although chronic wasting disease probably is not the sole reason that folks are having a hard time finding these older age class bucks, it could be contributing to this, especially at a prevalence that's nearing 10% over the last 3 years. We're also concerned that just high prevalence herd units will see a reduced hunt quality and decline in hunter interest, which is certainly not something that we want to see in a recreational management strategy herd where we're still trying to optimize or maximize that buck hunter opportunity. The table on the right shows the proposed 2024 hunting seasons for the Platte Valley Mule Deer Herd Unit. We are proposing to maintain the 14-day limited quota antlered mule deer or any white-tailed deer season. The major change for 2024 will be the proposed reduction in license quotas in response to quality of hunt metrics as described on the previous slide. This is also in response to overwhelming public comment regarding poor hunter satisfaction, poor quality of hunt within the herd unit. These reduced license quotas are also in response to reduced buck ratios. Again, during our postseason classifications, we observed 27 bucks per 100 does. This is the lowest buck ratio that we have observed in some time in the Platte Valley. And although this buck ratio is within the recreational management strategy parameters, it's been made clear by our public that the expectation for this herd unit is that we have got higher buck ratios during the hunt season. This will be the lowest license quota in Platte Valley history. Again, this is a recreational management strategy herd, so the goal with that strategy is to maximize deer hunter opportunity. And it should be noted with these low license quotas, these license quotas may no longer align with maximizing deer hunter opportunity in the Platte Valley. We don't anticipate that these reduced quotas will change the trajectory of the population, but we do hope or anticipate that this reduction in license quota could improve hunter success in 2024, as well as improve hunter satisfaction with the quality of deer hunting in the Platte Valley. In 2024, we are reviewing the Platte Valley mule deer objective. So far, we are recommending keeping the postseason population objective of 16,000 mule deer and the recreational management strategy. This recommendation is based on our internal discussions and conversations we have had with stakeholders thus far. We've evaluated and considered the population status. This is a population that has not met the population objective of 16,000 mule deer over the last decade, and our habitat data also does not indicate a change in our population objective at this time. We will review this objective again in 2029. However, if there is a situation that arises where a change is needed before that, we can review and submit a proposal as needed. Shifting gears from mule deer to white-tailed deer, I'll be talking about the proposed 2024 hunting seasons for white-tailed deer in hunt areas 78 through 81. Currently in the Platte Valley, we have two white-tailed deer specific license types. We've got a type 3, which is valid for any white-tailed deer, and we have a type 8, which is valid for doe or fawn white-tailed deer. In 2024, we are proposing an increase in the type 8 licenses. Those type 8 licenses can be used across the Platte Valley herd unit. This increase is proposed to address increasing number of white-tailed deer across the herd unit. We also expect that private land access will be adequate this year. We rely on private land access to have high hunter success on these whitetail licenses, just because many of these whitetail deer do reside on private lands across the herd unit. The Shirley Mountain Elk herd unit is comprised of hunt area 16. The Shirley Mountain Elk herd has a midwinter trend count objective of 1,200 elk. This is a special management strategy herd, which means we can manage for higher bull ratios. Basically, we can manage for 30 bulls per 100 cows or a higher ratio. And mature bulls are expected to make up at least 60% of the harvested bulls. In January, we flew the trend count survey and counted 1,024 elk. The 3-year average trend count was 1,364 elk, which is above the objective but within the objective range. During this trend count, we were able to classify bulls into classes. Class 1 bulls are 5x5s or smaller. Class 2s are 6x6 bulls or larger. 33% of the adult bulls that we classified were Class 2 bulls, and 67% were Class 1 bulls. The harvest survey report indicated that we had 859 hunters this year that harvested 680 elk, with an overall success of 79%, which is very high. The percentage of branch antler bulls was 100% in the antlered elk harvest, and the male to female ratio of 59 bulls per 100 cows that we observed during the trend flight means that we're meeting those special management parameters for this herd. We saw very high success on all license types in 2023, and this was attributed to improved private land access, especially for late season antlerless elk hunters, in dry conditions throughout the entire elk hunting season. The table on the right shows the proposed 2024 hunting seasons for the Shirley Mountain Elk herd unit. Some pretty simple changes proposed for 2024. We are looking at removing the Hannah-Draw Hunter Management Area language from the Type 4 and Type 6 early season limitation. We don't anticipate that there will be permission slips available in this hunter management area early season, hence that language being struck from the limitation. Overall, our 2024 hunting season proposals are intended to maintain the bull ratios within the special management parameters and reduce overall elk numbers. Our Type 1 and Type 2 license success has exceeded 60% over the last 3 years. Both these Type 1 and Type 2 license quotas have been increased over the last couple of years. So we would like to see what our success looks like in 2024 before looking at an additional quota increase for Type 1s and Type 2s. Snowy Range elk herd is comprised of hunt areas 8 through 12, area 110, and area 125. The Snowy Range elk herd has a post-hunting season population objective of 6,000 elk. This is also a recreational management strategy herd, which means that we are trying to maximize elk hunter opportunity, and we expect to manage for lower bull ratios than some of our special management strategy herds. The 2023 postseason population estimate for this herd was 9,300 elk, as you can see on the figure on the right. The model that we do use for this herd, as shown on the model on the right, is considered poor and does not appear to generate a population estimate that is necessarily biologically reasonable on each given year. However, the population estimate trend over time is more plausible, and the one thing that we are looking at this year is from 2023 moving into 2024, if we continue to maintain our general license season structure and the cow or antlerless harvest at its current level, it looks like we've got a decreasing trend in the population. This decreasing trend is moving us toward our population objective, which is what we like to see. The 2023 postseason male to female ratio, so this includes branch antler bulls and yearling bulls, was 20 bulls per 100 cows, and the calf to cow ratio was 34 calves per 100 cows. This is below the respective 5-year averages for both the bull ratio and the calf ratio. Classification data were collected opportunistically during our deer surveys in the western portion of the herd unit only, so we didn't collect any elk classification data on the eastern portion of the herd unit. So this may have contributed to some of the changes in ratios that we've observed from 2022 to 2023. Mild conditions may have also affected the number of adult bulls that were observed during our classifications. This is likely due to them being dispersed at higher elevations during the time of the survey and not necessarily incorporated to where we were surveying for deer. We suspected that productivity, so our calf to cow ratios, would have been reduced this last year because of severe winter conditions in the previous winter. We did see those lower calf ratios during our classifications. However, we don't have any population level concerns regarding like increased mortality over last winter. In the 2023 hunting season, we had 5,745 hunters who harvested 2,491 elk across this herd unit. This was an increase from 2,300 elk that were harvested in 2022. 40.8% of the harvested elk were bulls, 46.45% of the harvested elk were cows, 7.83% of the elk harvested were calves, and 4.9% of the elk harvested were spikes. Hunter success was higher than 2022, and days to harvest was comparable to the last 5 years. So generally, folks seem to have a fairly successful hunting season in 2023. The table on the right shows the proposed 2024 hunting seasons for the Snowy Range elk herd. In terms of hunt areas 12, 110, and 125, we are proposing no changes in 2024. We hope that this season structure will still provide recreational elk hunting opportunity, so maximizing the number of elk hunters that we can have on the landscape while still having an enjoyable hunt. And we're also looking to reduce the elk population toward that objective of 6,000 elk. The Sierra Madre elk herd unit is comprised of hunt areas 13, 15, 21, 108, and 130. I'll talk about population performance at the herd unit level and then specifically discuss season proposals for hunt areas 13 and 15. The Sierra Madre elk herd has a midwinter trend count objective of 5,000 elk. This is also a recreational management strategy herd, which means we are trying to maximize elk hunter opportunity across the herd unit. The trend count result for 2023 was 4,627 elk, and the average trend count from 2021 to 2023 was 5,528 elk, which exceeded the objective of 5,000 elk. It should be noted that we had some adverse weather conditions for our trend counts in 2023 and 2022. So in 2022, not all of Atlantic Rim was able to be flown. In 2023, not all of the polygon in Area 130 was able to be flown, which may have impacted the trend count result. We don't necessarily think, at least in the hunt area 13 and 15 side of things, that our trend count result being lower in 2023 is indicative of a much lower population of elk. The calf ratio observed during the trend count in 2023 was 33 calves per 100 cows, which is slightly lower than the 2020 to 2022 average of 39 calves per 100 cows. Similarly, the bull ratio of 25 bulls per 100 cows was reduced from the 3-year average of 32 bulls per 100 cows, but still well within the recreational management parameters. The map above shows the trend flight polygons that we have flown the last 3 years in hunt areas 13 and 15 and also 130. The yellow circles indicate groups of elk that we observed during the January 2024 trend flight, and the circles that are green in color represent groups of elk that we observed during our deer classifications in December of 2023. So we fly these purple polygons each year. That's the intent of a trend count survey design, is you fly the same locations generally every single year. And I just wanted to show some of those elk observations in December to show folks that we may have missed some groups based on the mild conditions this winter. We feel like groups of elk were maybe distributed in places that our trend count polygons didn't necessarily account for, which is kind of the weakness of these trend count survey designs. Is sometimes with nomadic species like elk, you're going to miss some of these larger groups that might be distributed elsewhere depending on conditions. The last couple of winters, so 2023 and 2022, we felt like we had fairly good counts of elk just based on them being low on winter range. But this last winter was a little bit different, given that elk were probably in some higher elevation locations. So the green circles are just observations of elk that we made during our December deer flights. They are incorporated into those trend count numbers that we presented at the first slide, but just in regards to where we might have seen some elk or missed some elk during our trend flights. The table on the right shows the proposed 2024 hunting seasons for Sierra Madre elk. We are proposing no changes in hunt areas 13 and 15. The recommended season structure does provide recreational elk hunting opportunity across areas 13 and 15, while still reducing elk damage concerns on private lands. So we had just increased the Type 6 license quota in Area 15 in 2023, and we hope to maintain that increased quota again for 2024 hunting season. We think it's prudent, given some of our private land damage that we have in 13 and 15, as well as the status of this elk population, to maintain those Type 6 or cow-calf opportunities across 13 and 15. In 2024, non-resident regional general elk hunt areas and general elk license quotas were established. The non-resident general elk southern region, or Region S, had a quota of 1,050 licenses. The license quota was based off of the 2019 through 2021 average non-resident hunters in the general license hunt areas that comprise the region. Geographically, Region S does encompass several limited quota hunt areas. However, non-residents with general elk region licenses are only permitted to hunt in areas designated as general. So these hunt areas would include Area 9, 10, 12, 13, 15, 21, 105 through 107, 110, and 130, and not within the limited quota hunt areas. The Snowy Range moose herd is comprised of hunt areas 38, 41, and 45. Since biological year 2016, midwinter trend counts have been conducted to monitor moose in the Snowy Range moose herd unit. The 3-year trend count average from 2019 to 2021 was 173 moose, which exceeded the trend count objective. Although we have been able to detect more than 75 moose in the count blocks each year, the current midwinter trend objective of 75 moose and trend survey design has done little to inform us as to whether moose are increasing, stable, or declining in this herd unit. This prompted our interest in evaluating how we survey and monitor this herd. So last year we became interested in potentially developing an integrated population model for this herd, which you can see the outcome of that model on the figure to the left. In January 2023, so post-hunting season 2022, we attempted to develop a more reliable method to monitor snowy range moose and flew a 20-hour composition abundance survey. The entire herd unit was divided into high, low, and out strata subunits. We randomly selected 28 high and 13 low subunits to survey. During this survey, we observed 154 moose. 119 of those moose were in subunits. The estimated number of moose based on this survey was 1,300 moose. This is a low precision estimate that we got from that composition abundance survey though, so the confidence interval was very wide. It estimated anywhere from 430 to 2,200 moose. So at the time we believed this estimate was higher than the number of moose probably in the herd, and we were uncomfortable with the wide confidence interval from that survey. But we are optimistic that with an improved survey design, that an annual composition abundance survey could provide really useful data for this newly developed snowy range moose integrated population model. So the integrated population model that you see in the figure to the left is performing okay with the data that we have provided on this herd. So we have the 2022 post-season composition abundance survey in this model. We also have the new siteability estimate or abundance estimate from the 2023 siteability, and I'll describe that effort in a little bit. The 2023 post-season population estimate from this integrated population model was 1,009 moose. We do believe that this estimate is biologically reasonable, and we are going to be using this model outcome as we develop the snowy range moose objective. So we would like to move away from the trend count objective and move to a post-season population objective based on the outcome of this model. Just a couple things to note regarding our observed calf ratio and bull ratio. These are bull ratios that were derived from our latest siteability survey that we flew in February of 2024. So we observed 46 calves per 100 cows, which was slightly above the previous 5-year average. Our bull ratio that we observed during the siteability was a little bit lower than the 5-year average, but still very strong. We typically are managing for higher bull ratios just based on the reproduction of moose and also ensuring that there's trophy quality or prime aged animals in the population. So our bull ratio, one thing to note there too is that during the siteability survey, we did have folks put unknown bulls. So those were mostly shed out bulls that were observed during the siteability. In hindsight, looking at the results of that survey, most of the shed out bulls that we did observe were large-bodied, larger antler class bulls. So it could be assumed that many of the unknown bulls or all of the unknown bulls that were shed out bulls were actually adult bulls. In that case, our adult bull ratio would be much higher. In February 2024, a siteability survey was conducted in this herd unit. The goal of this effort was to provide an additional estimate that could bolster the integrated population model that we were working on for the snowy range moose herd. The stratification of subunits was similar to the 2023 composition abundance survey. The potentially occupied area was divided geographically into survey search units or subunits. We conducted this siteability survey in 60 hours and flew 50% of the randomly selected high density strata and 30% of the randomly selected low density strata. A total of 345 moose were observed in selected subunits. We also saw moose as we were ferrying back and forth to landing zones or other subunits. In total, we saw 382 moose throughout the entire survey area. The abundance estimate from the survey effort was 1,068 moose, with confidence levels from 758 moose to 1,378 moose. Moose managers in this area do agree that this abundance seems plausible. So just want to give folks an idea as to what the survey effort looked like. The map above shows Hunt Area 38. All of the selected and flown subunits are shown in green or shaded in green. All the non-selected units are shaded in red. All of our moose observations are noted with a black diamond. In the Snowy Range Moose Hunt Area 38, we observed 318 moose. The bull ratio in Hunt Area 38 was 108 bulls per 100 cows, and the calf ratio was 56 calves per 100 cows. In Hunt Area 41, we flew a number of polygons as well, or subunits as well. Those are all shaded in green. Everything that is red was not flown. We observed 45 moose in Hunt Area 41. All of our moose observations are noted with a black diamond. The total bull ratio in Area 41 was 100 bulls per 100 cows, and the calf ratio was 50 calves per 100 cows. In Hunt Area 45, we had a number of selected polygons. Those are shown in green here. Everything that is red was not flown or not selected for the siteability survey. All of our moose observations are noted with a black diamond. In Hunt Area 45, so the Pole Mountain portion of the herd unit, 19 moose were observed. Most of the moose that were observed in Pole Mountain were bulls, so our bull ratio is very high. In Hunt Area 45, the bull ratio was 143 bulls per 100 cows, and our calf ratio was 0 calves per 100 cows, simply because we didn't observe any cows with calves, but we saw a very limited number of cows as well. When setting seasons for snowy range moose, each year we take a look at the secondary management objectives, which pertain to the average age of harvested bulls. So we're looking at the 3-year average of age of harvested bulls across the snowy range herd unit. From 2021 to 2023, 5.3 years of age was the average age, which is exceeding that objective of having the average of greater than 4 years of age for harvested bulls. Of course, these metrics do depend on folks turning in hunter-harvested moose teeth. This year we had 21 bull teeth that we were basing these metrics off of. The next secondary management objective that we look at for snowy range moose is whether there is at least 40% of the bulls in the harvest greater than 5 years of age. In 2023, 71% of the bulls in the harvest were greater than 5 years. And from 2021 to 2023, 71% of the bulls in the harvest were greater than 5 years. So we are meeting that secondary management objective, which simply means that we do have prime age bulls or even trophy quality bulls available for harvest in this population. The last secondary management objective that we evaluate is the condition of moose habitat across the herd unit. 2023 was the 3rd year of willow monitoring within the snowy range moose herd unit. We evaluated willow community conditions using a quantitative measure of browse intensity called the Keighley Live Index, or the LD Index. We focused our efforts on plainleaf, drummond, and booth willow. These willow species were selected based on a combination of moose preference and also willow abundance within the snowy range herd unit. We also opportunistically completed the LD index for other willow species as listed on this slide, so gyre, coyote, whiplash, yellow, and pussy willow. The majority of surveys in 2023 were completed on plainleaf willow, and as you can see, the majority of surveys from 2021 to 2023 were also completed on plainleaf willow. The LD index data suggests that plainleaf willow are suppressed by browsing pressure within the snowy range moose herd unit. Drummond willow did appear to be escaping browsing pressure based on the overall mean LD index, but those LD indexes on drummonds may have been skewed by a few highly positive LD index values, as the majority of the surveys that we conducted had negative values. So drummond willows may have a positive mean LD index, but we did document high levels of browse on drummond willows. So these assessments provide the most relevant information available for assessing carrying capacity and indicated that carrying capacity has been met or exceeded in localized areas, especially in the snowy range mountains. So that's something that we're going to be considering while we are setting the objective and determining management of moose moving forward. The table on the right are the proposed 2024 hunting seasons for snowy range moose. The first recommendation is to separate the Type 1 license quotas for hunt areas 38, 41, and 45. We are recommending 24 Type 1 licenses in hunt area 38, adding 5 Type 1 licenses in hunt area 41, and adding 5 Type 1 licenses in hunt area 45. The goal of adding these separate license quotas for each hunt area is to improve the distribution of hunters across the herd unit. So as I spoke about in previous slides, we know that moose are now occupying a lot of available habitat across the entire herd unit. Historically, even though type 1 licensed hunters could hunt across the entire herd unit and had the flexibility of moving between 38 and 41 and what is now 45, we were not seeing a lot of hunter pressure in areas other than Hunt Area 38. So we think these separate license quotas are justified and will help distribute our hunters more appropriately across the herd unit. We're also looking at trying to maximize that bull moose hunter opportunity, and these separate license quotas should achieve that. We're still interested in maintaining trophy quality bulls. All of our tooth age data from harvested bulls, as well as our citability information and our composition data, show that we still have prime age bulls within this herd, and we feel like these fairly conservative quotas across the herd unit will still maintain prime age bulls for the years to come. In terms of type 4 licenses, we are looking at increasing our type 4 licenses by 5, so there would be a total of 30 antlerless moose licenses available to be used in areas 38, 41, and 45. So these type 4 license holders will still be able to have the flexibility to move across any of the 3 hunt areas within the herd unit. Historically, we have seen very little antlerless harvest on type 1 licenses in the Snowy Range Moose herd unit. So in order to try to stabilize this population within the objective range, as described in the previous slides, we need to increase antlerless moose harvest. So this is a conservative increase, but it is an attempt to try to stabilize our population within the objective range. It should be noted that the license quota as proposed for Hunt Area 38 is taking into consideration the Moose Super Tag and Super Tag Trifecta winners in 2024. So the Moose Super Tag and Super Tag Trifecta were awarded to 2 non-residents in 2024, and because these Super Tag moose hunters could hunt in Area 38, we had to account for that with our quota while considering the 90-10 split. So that's why that quota was adjusted from 25 to 24, is because we are accounting for that potential non-resident hunter that could come and hunt in 38 in hunting season 2024. Lastly, in terms of Snowy Range moose, we are looking at a moose objective review and changing the objective from a midwinter trend count to a postseason population objective. So we've been working on rolling out this objective review for the last couple of years, but we've been waiting until we could complete that citability survey that was just completed in 2024. So we recommend changing the herd objective from the midwinter trend count objective of 75 moose to a postseason population objective of 950 moose. We would like to use the integrated population model that we have developed to determine a postseason population estimate, which will allow us to know what the annual status of the herd is in relation to the postseason population objective. The integrated population model that I showed you on that first slide regarding Snowy Range moose is performing okay with the available data for this herd and has produced an estimate for 2023 postseason at 1,000 moose. So setting this postseason population objective to 950 moose necessitates and recognizes that we might need a harvest regime that would stabilize the population at or slightly below its current estimated level. This could mean slight increases in hunting opportunity followed by a stable number of licenses that would be issued each year to balance the annual population increase that we would expect to see. Habitat data, especially in the Snowy Range portion of the herd unit, indicated that moose herd is at or slightly above carrying capacity and that localized overutilization may be occurring. So that was those LD indices that I described earlier. Maintaining a moose population larger than this new objective could exceed carrying capacity and cause some density dependence responses such as decreased calf survival, lower pregnancy rates, and decreased body size and antler size. So we want to maintain the productivity of this herd and we do not want to see those density dependent responses. So we think it's prudent that we do keep a postseason population objective slightly lower than what we're currently estimating our moose population to be at currently. In order to carefully monitor this herd, we plan to conduct an aerial survey each year with an improved composition abundance survey design. So I described what that survey design may look like in an earlier slide. During the survey, moose will be classified by sex and age, and we'll be able to obtain a low precision abundance estimate. We also plan to conduct a citability survey, so that more intensive survey design once every 5 years as funding permits. The secondary management objectives, so regarding age of harvested moose, will be maintained to help ensure we are balancing the opportunity to hunt moose with the ability for hunters to harvest mature or prime age bulls. So this slide just describes what we're looking at for our objective review. So we're looking to change the to a postseason population objective of 950 moose. And we're also looking to keep the secondary management objectives. And remember, those secondary management objectives all have to do with age of harvested moose, as well as that secondary management objective regarding monitoring our habitats within the Snowy Range Moose Herd Unit. The Encampment River Bighorn Sheep Herd is comprised of Hunt Area 21. The Encampment River Bighorn Sheep Herd is a limited opportunity objective herd, so we're evaluating several secondary management objectives. The first secondary management objective that we analyze is the 5-year running average of hunter success. We're aiming for that average success to be over 75%. Between 2019 and 2023, hunter success in Area 21 was 100%. You'll notice that we only had hunters in Area 21 in 2021 and 2023. Until 2023, Hunt Area 21 was combined with Area 18, the Douglas Creek sheep herd. So not every year did we see hunters going after sheep in Hunt Area 21. But for those folks that did opt to hunt in Area 21 since 2019, we have seen high hunter success. So that objective is being met. We're also looking at the 5-year running average age of harvested rams. We're aiming for the average age to be between 6 and 8 years of age. Between 2019 and 2023, the harvest mean age in Encampment River Bighorn sheep was 8 years of age. We also want to ensure that we've got harvestable rams in the population, so we wanted the documented occurrence of adult rams in this population. In 2023, during different survey efforts, we were able to observe more than 10 adult rams in Hunt Area 21. These are just some pictures of the Encampment River sheep harvest we've seen over the last few years. In 2023, both Encampment River Bighorn sheep hunters were successful. One hunter harvested an 8-year-old ram and the other harvested a 7-year-old ram. In 2021, there was an additional 7-year-old ram killed. And in 2018, we saw 2 rams killed in Hunt Area 21. One was 15 years of age and the other was 9 years of age. So some really mature rams available for harvest across this hunt area. The table on the right shows the proposed 2024 hunting seasons for the Encampment River Bighorn sheep herd. No significant changes this year for Bighorn sheep in Hunt Area 21. The only change is that the 2 licenses will be allocated to residents this year. The non-resident will be in Hunt Area 18. So with these low quota hunt areas, we have to figure out where those non-residents are going each year. We had the non-resident in Hunt Area 21 last year. The non-resident will now be in 18 in 2024. We are expecting high likelihood of success on these license types, just given the amount of sheep that we are frequently observing across this herd unit. The Ferris Seminole Bighorn sheep herd is comprised of hunt areas 17 and 26. The Ferris Seminole Bighorn sheep herd has a trend count objective of 300 sheep. The 3-year average trend count was 347 bighorn sheep, and 365 bighorn sheep were observed in the latest trend survey. Lamb production did decline as observed in our latest trend survey. We observed 35 lambs per 100 ewes, which is down from the preceding 5-year average of 52 lambs per 100 ewes. So productivity may have been a little bit limited in 2023. However, this is still within the normal range of productivity for a bighorn sheep herd. Also, the ram ratio was reduced from the 5-year average. The 5-year average ram ratio is 64 rams per 100 ewes. During our latest trend flight, we saw 57 rams per 100 ewes. This is still indicating that there's a lot of opportunity for ram harvest in this herd unit. That's a high enough ratio to support reproduction, but it is a decline from ram ratios that we have observed in the past. From a herd unit perspective, the age of harvested rams has declined since 2019. Average age was 7.4 years in 2019, and in 2022 and 2023, we're sitting right at 6.6 and 6.4 years of age. So we are seeing a decline in age of harvested rams, which was expected given the increase in license quotas that we've had over the last few years in both 17 and 26. At least in Hunt Area 26, for the last couple of years where we've had separate license quotas, we have been able to maintain 7 years of age for our harvested rams, and these are some pictures above of those harvested rams over the last couple of years. We did see a significant number of collared ram mortalities in 2023. We have a very small sample of collared rams. We only had 5 collared rams online, but we did see 3 of those rams die of either predation or unknown causes, and then 1 additional ram we end up having to euthanize because it crossed the herd unit boundary and is at risk of commingling with domestic sheep. So we did see a substantial number of ram mortalities, and that definitely played into our license quota recommendation for 2024. The table on the right shows the proposed 2024 hunting seasons for the Ferris Seminole bighorn sheep herd. The first recommendation is to maintain separate license quotas for hunt areas 17 and 26. License quotas were first separated between the 2 hunt areas in 2021, and we feel like this is still an effective way to manage this herd. The next recommendation will be to reduce the Area 17 Type 1 license quota, and this is primarily to accommodate the new Type 2 licenses that you see in the next row of the table. So we are looking at shifting some of that harvest from older age rams to some of the younger age rams. Overall, given the ram ratios in this herd, we feel like we probably need to be maintaining or slightly reducing the number of rams in this herd unit. The reason being is because rams are more likely to come in close contact or close proximity to domestic sheep operations, and most likely to bring deadly pathogens potentially back to this otherwise healthy sheep herd. So maintaining or even reducing our ram ratio some is something that we're looking at doing with these Type 1 license and Type 2 license quotas. You will notice that the Type 2 license is going to be valid for rams less than 3/4 curl. So we are looking to increase harvest of those younger age class rams. These are the rams that, again, are most likely to wander. This population is above the trend count objective, and in order to stabilize this population with anticipated improved land production and survival this year, we need to continue ewe harvest across the herd unit. You will see a slight increase in the Type 6 and Type 7 licenses in Area 17. These are the ewe and lamb licenses valid in that portion of the herd unit. And to address this growing population, they are looking at an increase in those license quotas on the 17 side. Area 26 has a smaller portion of sheep compared to Area 17, but we still are looking at maintaining 2 Type 1 licenses in Area 26. These will be valid for any ram. In future years, we will be considering the addition of a Type 2 license as seen in Area 17. We anticipate that our Type 1 license hunters will have a high likelihood of success, and our goal with maintaining this quota of 2 licenses for Type 1s in Area 26 is to maintain our ram numbers at their current level. Again, we want to reduce the risk of disease transmission. Not only are rams more susceptible to wandering and potentially coming in close proximity to domestic sheep, but historically we have seen that Area 26 sheep are in closest proximity to domestic sheep and goat operations. So we want to make sure that we're maintaining our ram numbers and reducing that transmission risk. As far as Type 6s, we're looking at maintaining the Area 26 Type 6 license quota. Again, we want to contribute to stabilizing this population closer to the trend count objective. And in order to do that, we need to look at ewe or lamb harvest. Similarly, we are trying to minimize disease transmission risk. We have seen some occurrences of ewes wandering in Area 26 or outside of Area 26 and coming in close proximity to domestic sheep operations. So in order to minimize that disease transmission risk, we need to stabilize the number of sheep that we have in the 26 side. So that's why we are looking at that quota of 3 for our Type 6s in Area 26. Thank you for watching our 2024 season proposals for the Saratoga Biologist District. If after watching this presentation you have comments for the Game and Fish Commission, you can share those comments by writing the Commission online or at the address below. You must submit comments by March 29th by 5 p.m. for them to be considered by the Commission. If you have any comments or concerns that you would specifically like to discuss with me regarding season proposals for the Saratoga Biologist District in these hunt areas listed below, you may always contact me via cell phone at 307-321-7087 or via email at teal.kafad@wyo.gov.